Welcome to Torbran, Thane of Redfell. And as far as opening hand goes, we have no lands in the hand, so let's go mulligan on this one. And yeah, we keep on this one. We've got Soul Ring, Double Mountain. Yes, this is good. We'll certainly make this work. And let's see what we need to put on the bottom. I think at this point, I guess Collar would be nice. Yeah, let's do that, because we at least have an answer for Brea. So let's put Chandra on the bottom. Actually, we don't need flame. Yeah, we can just actually put that on the bottom. That's definitely a lot better. So our opponent's on the play, so we're going to let them do this thing, do their thing. So we're playing Torbran, Thane of Redfell. If a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent a opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2 instead. Playing against Breya, the Therium Scraper. Whenever Breya enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. Then for a 2-mana activation, sacrifice 2 artifacts, choose 1. Breya deals 3 damage to target player or planeswalker. Target creature gets -4/-4, or you gain 5 life. So, see if our opponent's going to get this game started, then we'll jump into some of the sponsors. And all right, so they're going to go and lead off with a drowned catacomb and then pass it back over there. So Breya is kind of grayed out right now. I don't know why. I think it's because I had her expanded out when we were talking about her. So let's go lead off with Mountain. Let's go for Soul Ring. There we go. This could be 1 mana, and also allow us to go for Collar, which will be a pretty good option. So let's have Soul Ring into the battlefield. If they got Mental, okay, yeah, that's fine. Mental Misstep's going to catch that Soul Ring, and then we'll go and kick it back over there to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to build your very own Torbran deck and Chandra out some people, or give your opponent the gift of Fire Ants this holiday season, head over to MTGOTraders. They've got you covered. Also, let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com. You can use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off anything off the website. So if you haven't treated yourself in a long time, make sure you do. Grab something off the website, pretty nice. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. Get your name at the beginning or the ending of the credits. And if you to support cool content like this, and if you can't do that, hey, no problem. Just tell somebody about the channel. And it is officially free time, so let's have some fun. We've got some very interesting build of Breya on our opponent's side of the battlefield. We got hit with Mental Misstep on Soul Ring and then Gitaxian Probe. So we at least do have Mountain to go for next turn. That's going to allow us to go for Collar. And once we get down Chandra, if we can just kind of keep plussing up on Chandra, I really don't mind going for that. So let's go and play Mountain for the turn. Let's go Collar. And that way, once we get down Fire Ants, we can basically just kind of pop Breya. Yeah, because once we get down Fire Ants, that's going to allow us to basically kind of keep these Thopters in check and also keep Brea in check. And this is going to be like the king of the casual room right here. But yeah, this is officially free time, so let's go and talk about the deck. Now, there are a lot of pingers in this deck. I didn't really know where I wanted to take Torbran, this kind of build. And a couple different ways we could have gone. But one of the first decks that I ever built in Magic was a pinging death deck. And I thought that was so cool that you could do that. And so when I thought about Torbran, it's like, you're gonna be able to ping damage with Fire Ants, or like cards like Fire Ants. I'm like, heck yeah, let's go for that. So definitely have a very heavy reliance on ping damage. I don't know, it just felt really good to get all these weird, or the thought of getting down all these weird creatures that deal 1 damage in some form or fashion down on the battlefield and start hitting our opponents. It was a pretty good feeling. So let's go for Fire Ants. That way next turn we can get Collar onto Fire Ants, and then we can just have like board wipes at our disposal. Now we do have to watch out for our Fire Ants. If we get other creatures on the battlefield with Collar, we'll have to kind of shift that around, because that will not be very good for us. But once we get down Torbran, that's going to allow us to cash in some pretty good damage. That will kind of make us kind of pick and choose where we're going to go for these activations, but the thought of them spending 4 mana for Breya and potentially not having an answer for Fire Ants is a pretty good feeling. So let's see if this resolves, and we'll jump back into commentary. Okay, then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. Now, outside of the pingers, we do have Chandra in here, a little bit of a kind of a Planeswalker sub theme. As you're kind of building some of these pingers, a lot of them have kind of like weird stat, and almost like kind of like wall stats. Like there's the Goblin Lobber, I can't remember exactly what it's called. Lobber Crew. It's the 3 mana, it's like a 0/4, and you can tap it to deal 1 damage each turn. And so, with the thing of, the thought of having a bunch of little creatures on the battlefield, the thought of, all right, opponent's going to go for Liliana, probably see that -2 from our opponent, making us sacrifice a creature. And if that's the case, I think that's perfectly fine. All right, if we're going to see Liliana make us sacrifice Fire Ants, I love that. All right, and then that does allow us to go for Chandra next turn. Yeah, because we can go for the +1. It deals 1 damage to any target. That's going to be Chandra getting on the battlefield and asserting her Planeswalker dominance over Liliana. So we'll at least have Chandra come down and then pop her for 1. I think that would be a pretty good feeling. And we run into Stinger. All right, so we can still get that pinging on the battlefield, which will be nice. So let's go Mountain. Let's go Chandra. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to go for the +1 ability. And at this point, if we can just somehow stabilize against Breya, this is going to feel so good. So we're going to go for the +1 off Chandra. We're going to pop Liliana and then pass the turn over to our opponent. So next turn, we can go for Vithian Stinger. That's going to enter the battlefield. It doesn't have haste, but we can go ahead and get the collar on there. Or if we actually want to end up going for Arcane Signet, we can have Arcane Signet enter the battlefield. Then we get down Stinger, and that puts us on equip for next turn. So we'll kind of see how we want to sequence this. If we don't end up doing that, what'll allow us to do is at least go for Stinger, and then the following turn we go for Torbran, and then we get that damage kind of starting to pile up, which might be a pretty nice effect, and so we can try to do that. But outside of the Chandras, we are running the Chandra Tribal in here. That's going to give us, I can't remember which Chandra it is, I always forget. I think it's the 3-mana one, but there's one that allows us to put a loyalty counter on each Planeswalker that we control, or at least each Chandra Planeswalker we control, I'm pretty sure. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Scryfall and see if I'm right on that. So, yes, that's what it is. Chandra Acolyte of Flame. And so with Chandra Acolyte of Flame, all right, so Dak Faden's going to steal our collar. Now, what we can end up doing is we can basically just... we can still end up going for the +1 on Dak Faden. So Chandra, if we keep it score at home, Chandra's going to be 2 for 0 on knocking Planeswalkers out of the battlefield, which is a really good feeling. And so we'll get her down. We might end up going for Torbran. We'll kind of see, but that is a really good feeling. But yes, the Chandra Planeswalker I was thinking about was Chandra Acolyte of Flame. That 0 ability is going to put a loyalty counter on each red Planeswalker that we control. So most of them will be Chandras in here. We do have Sarkhan the Masterless, and I'll kind of explain why Sarkhan the Masterless is in here. And also, if you're watching this video and my commentary is a little bit weird, or I kind of take random pauses, our opponent, like right now, they're still paused right now. Why they're paused, I don't know, but they're just taking random like 10-second pauses, and that's the hardest for me to deliver commentary while playing. So you may notice we're at 58 minutes, opponents at 53 minutes. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just it's hard to deliver flowing commentary that way sometimes. So long story short, if you see me kind of like pause or stop or something like that, that's pretty much why. So let's have Torbran enter the battlefield. I think that'll be a pretty good option. We can basically just get a free lightning bolt every single turn. We're going to pop up on Dak Faden because we definitely want to make sure that our opponent's not going to get any sort of card advantage, and that if they do run into land, they're going to have to see Breya come down on the battlefield. Now with them stealing collar, that is a bummer. We do have Homeward Path in here, so we can at least maybe at some point find Homeward Path and kind of go from there. Depending also what we draw into, we at least do have Arcane Signet into Worn Power Stone next turn, so that could be an option for us. But the quicker we have Torbran on the battlefield and the quicker we can get these ping activations going, the more lightning bolts we can do and the happier we're going to be. So that's pretty much going to be the game plan right now. Outside of the pingers and the planeswalkers, that's pretty much it. I mean, we've got a lot of mono red kind of safety valves in here, kind of removal. We have Biforce, we have Earthquake, we have Electro Dominant. So there's just a lot of different ways that we can try to keep the board under control. And you know, because really what you're trying to do is just kind of clear the board out, get your pingers down, and then just be open with Torbran. And we're going to hopefully be able to get in for a pretty good chunk of damage. So let's see what we rip into for the turn. Stinger's not going to have haste, so we're probably not going to end up going for that. And we do need to keep in mind that Chandra... Yeah, and oh, and we run into a Braid, which is going to be very, very good. So let's go ahead and push in with Torbran to see if we can't get in a little bit of action out of our opponent's hand. And that's going to allow us to swing in for 2, which should be 5 once we swing in with that Torbran. Or extra 2 damage, excuse me. It's going to be 4. It's going to put them down to 21. Let's go for Chandra, and we go for the -2. And actually, that 3 damage isn't going to matter. So let's go for... a Braid. We're going to destroy target artifact. We're going to pop that Talisman. And the good thing is that's going to cut them off any sort of mana, which I'm very going to be pretty much happy about because that'll really set them back. Let's go for the +1. It's going to deal 1 damage to our opponent. That's going to be a Lightning Bolt up top. And then we'll end up going for Arcane Signet. All right, so we're gonna have that Signet enter the battlefield, and then anything else? No, we're good to go. So next turn, we at least have that 3 damage. We've got 4 from Torbran. They are pretty much strapped on mana. They've got Sulphur Falls and Drowned Catacombs. And let's get this Ancestral Vision popped up. Yeah, they've still got 3 more counters to go. So hopefully it should be done by now. Or not done by now, but we can get it done before that comes off suspend. We do have Chandra for the -6. That's going to deal 6 damage to our opponent. That's going to be 8, puts them down to 10. And then the 4 from Torbran is going to put them down to 6. So what we'll probably end up doing with Chandra, since we do have a little bit of time and they're still kind of digging for another land, is that we'll probably end up going for the +1 ability. That's going to be 3 damage up top, swinging for that 4. And then this should be the cleaning up factor with that -6. And we'll probably end up going for Vithian Stinger to kind of seal the deal. It's going to feel good. We got paired against Breya. Brea is like, I don't really enjoy playing against Brea because most of the Brea decks in 1v1, it's a lot of stuff like Liliana, you've got Dak Fade and Mental Misstep, you've got a lot of, they used to have the, like, well, I think Hymn to Turok is legal, but they had one, they just dumped your entire Mind Twist. That's what it was, Mind Twist. I can't tell you how many times I got hit with Mind Twist, and I'd always be looking at my second monitor when we got hit with Mind Twist, and so, anyway. Breya's not the... Breya ranks up there with Narset as far as my least favorite commanders to play against. But yeah, as far as this past weekend, I'll kind of jump into commentary in a second while our opponent's waiting. This past weekend, Curse of the Pierced Heart. That's going to get it done too. So let's do this. Let's go for +1. We're just going to get this damage right out of the way really quick. That's going to put them down to 15. And then once we go for this Curse of the Pierced Heart, yeah, I like that. So let's go and swing it with Torbran. And, if we can get this Chandra ultimate, that's going to be such a good feeling. Let's go and swing with Torbran. That's going to be 4 coming across on our opponent. That's going to put them down to 11. That's going to be 8 total commander damage. Let's go for... We did activate Chandra. Let's go for Vithian Stinger. That's going to be red. And if something does end up having the Vithian Stinger, more than likely they're going to target Torbran, but at least we still have the option to unearth it, and it's going to have the hasty option. So let's have Torbran, have Curse of the Pierced Heart enter the battlefield. That's going to be an extra 3 damage during their upkeep, which is going to put them down to 8. And then we should be able to clean it up next turn because that's actually just a straight up Chandra activation. So let's go and pass the turn. But yeah, this past weekend, I didn't have a Monday video because it was my buddy's bachelor weekend. And we went out to we went a couple different places. We went to the State Fair of Texas, which is just really cool. If you've never been in Texas or you live in Texas, you should certainly go. It's a really cool place. And actually, let me do it in order because that'll kind of get my story mixed up. But we started off at the Bishop Cider Cidercade. And a cidercade is a cider arcade. And oh my gosh, that place is so cool. If you live in Austin, if you live anywhere in Texas and you have any sort of plans to go to Dallas, stop by this place. It's $10 to get in, which gives you free play access to all the arcades. And that's where we started off at. And when we got there, I hadn't been there before. I knew it existed, and I was like, well, I'm thinking it's a cider place. They're going to have a couple different arcades in there. They have a fully stocked arcade in there, but they've probably got like 20 pinball machines. They've got a 6-top, one of those 90s X-Men games where 6 people can play. They've got 2 pod racer games. They have 4 brand new Mario Kart, like synced up racers. They got pretty much any old arcade game you could think of. They've got new kind of games that you see on Steam, their own little arcade cabinets. There was, Cuphead was over there too. They have all the old shooters. So if you basically grew up in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, playing arcade games, check it out. This is a wonderful, wonderful place. Really cool place. And so that's where we started. So I had a couple ciders. I had a cucumber and apple cider that was like 10%. Whew. That was some good cider right there. And I don't know if our opponents got anything up their sleeve or what, but I'm going to keep talking. And if it gets to the point to where it looks like they might have disconnected for some unfortunate reason, then I'll kind of stop talking. But at least this will allow us to... Oh, there we go. All right. I'm going to pass it back over. But yeah, we went to the State Fair of Texas after that cider place, and then we went out to a bar where my wife's cousin works and just had a good time. So that's kind of why I didn't have a Monday video. I was pretty tired from the weekend, and also I cooked for all of them on Friday night at my house. So that was Friday night into Saturday morning. We left my house around 11. Then we're at the fair from like 4 o'clock until 8 o'clock. And then we're at a bar from like 8 o'clock until a little after like 1 o'clock. So it was a pretty long weekend. I definitely wanted to record when I got back, but it was I didn't want my video to suffer. That was kind of the main thing that I was looking at. Now our opponent does have 1 open white mana or 1 open blue mana. Now we don't really have to worry about that open blue mana that could be stifled. Probably not going to be stifled, but that's something we do need to watch out for, because if we do end up going for the -6 with Chandra, they will be able to stifle that. But I think at this point we'll still be able to get it done, because we've got Vithian Stinger that we can tap down now for 1 damage. So that's going to be 3. That's going to put them down to 5. We've got Torbran swinging in for another 4. But we'll see. Oh, there we go. All right, so we're going to go to our main phase. Let's go Mountain, and let's just go ahead and force the issue. So let's go ahead and go for -6. We're going to target our opponent. I'm going to click OK. That's going to be 6 damage up top. That's going to be an extra 2 damage with Torbran. So let's see if this is going to be good. Even if this gets stifled, or even if they exile Torbran, we're still going to be able to go for Vithian Stinger in response to that. So we're at a pretty good spot to close this one out. So let's see what they do have, because they only have 1 mana to activate. But yeah, because if they get rid of Torbran, that would be Path to Exile on the stack. We activate Vithian Stinger in response to that. That's 3 damage, puts them down to 5. And then that 6 damage is going to get rid of it. So all right, there we go. So we get that Chandra ability to resolve. That's going to put our opponent all the way down to 0. We stay at 30. Our opponent was a little bit mana screwed, to be perfectly honest. You know, we kind of fought through some stuff. We fought through a mental misstep very early on with our Soul Ring. We popped a Lily onto the Veil, popped a Dak Faden. We're able to really get some good stuff going on our side of the battlefield. And a lot of these Breya decks, they end up being 4-color good stuff deck that are really cutthroat. So the fact that we can kind of close it out with Torbran is a very good feeling. You can see how easy it is just to really assemble damage. You know, when you have a red permanent on your side of the battlefield that's going to be able to tag along for an extra 2 damage, that is such a nice feeling. We still even have the Stinger activation for lightning bolts. And just imagine if you get a few of those pingers on the battlefield. Oh, it's some wonderful magic. It's like going back to being a little kid playing Magic all over again. But that's going to be it for the video. In fact, if you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Torbran, Thane of Redfell. As far as opening hand goes, we're going to keep on this one. We've got 4 lands in the hand and Thran Dynamo. So I'm going to keep, and actually a huge shout out to our opponent. They are a friend of the channel, so it's nice to get to be able to play against friends of the channel. But they let us restart the game because I had to mulligan all the way down to 5. And each time I mulligan, I only had 1 land. So, once I saw the 4 lands, I'm like, all right, we're going to keep on this one. We can make this work. Then we draw into some card advantage, which is a very nice option. So we'll definitely take that. So let's go lead off with Mountain. Let's go for Caller. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Playing against Baby Leovold, little 8-pound, 6-ounce Baby Leovold. Don't even know a word yet. Sitting at his desk, having his secretary bring him some baby food. Little baby elf. We are playing Torbran, Thane of Redfell. If a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2. Instead, play against Baby Leovold. Actually, we'll make Leovold bigger. There we go. Okay. Play against Leovold. Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. Then, whenever you or a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. So, hopefully, we can keep old Leovold off the battlefield. A little better call Saul, Leovold. I'm pretty sure Leovold is banned in Commander, I think. I can't remember, but he's not banned in 1v1 Commander, which is definitely interesting. So I'm just going to lead off with Mountain, and then anything else. Let's just go and pass the turn. We could end up going for a Thrill of Possibility if we wanted to. We could actually discard a Mountain. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just go for Thrill of Possibility. I want this to stick very badly. I'd hate to, discard a card. There we go, drawn to 2 more Mountains. So, all right, anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to go over to Torbran and get some really nice fireballs going, head on over there. They got all the mono red burn that you may need, or Chandra Planeswalkers if you want to have some fun. Also, quick shout out to inkgaming.com. You can use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order and help the channel at the same time. Or you can actually search all of my merch booth by typing in JOLT539 in the search bar. Oh, there we go. Have an answer for Leovold. I'll take that. Let's go Mountain. And let's just kind of go for a counterspell test from our opponent. So let's just go for Light Up the Stage. And let's just see if we can kind of cash in some card advantage. And we'll see what those 2 cards are. So Hell Rider and Mountain. So that'll at least be good for next turn. Let's put that over there. Anything else? No. Pass it back over there. And also, last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon to support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below, and get your name at the beginning or the ending of the credits or both. And if you can't do that, hey, no problem. Just tell somebody about the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. So there we go. It's officially free time. We can have some fun. Now, when you're playing 1 versus 1 Leovold, it is pretty rough sometimes. So we'll see what sort of Leovold our opponent has built so far. But with this light up the stage, we at least got Mountain and we've got Hell Rider, which I really don't mind going for. We could go for Torbran, but with us going for Hell Rider, at least that gives us some sort of a hasty option on the battlefield, which will be nice. So let's go lead off with Mountain, since they did see that Mountain in our... Oh, we needed to play this one. Sorry about that. Let's go Hell Rider. I was trying to get around the Thoughtseize, what cards they ended up seeing. So let's go for Hell Rider. And then that actually Exile Zone is going to be exiled, so we'll just leave that up. Let's go on pushing for 3. It's going to knock him down to 23, which we'll definitely take that. Attack in for 1 and get that little extra damage going, and then put them down to 22. But yes, covered commanders, covered sponsors, it's officially free time. Let's have some fun. Now, as far as this build of Torbran, really excited about that. Typically, I don't really build mono red decks, or it's not really my favorite style of deck to build, mono red. And so whenever Torbran came out, I was like, hey, that's a pretty cool ability. You know, I think, actually, that was another video I was trying to record, but, you know, little things like Goblin Fire Slinger, where you can tap to deal 1 damage to any target. But you can turn that Fire Slinger into like a lightning bolt generator. I don't know, it's pretty cool. So as far as that, we've got a lot of damage spells in here. You want to be able to deal damage. We're running a lot of pingers in here, so that's why we do have Collar on the battlefield. This is like everybody's Timmy deck when they first started in Magic, or at least when I got in Magic, I figured out, you know, pingers are really cool to me. And then one of my friends told me, hey, if you put Death Touch on a pinger, you can instantly get rid of that creature. And I remember thinking, like, my goodness, this is really cool. So let's go Temple of the False God. I think we can... No, we would need access to that triple red for Torbran, but I don't really mind going for 3 and Dynamo. That's going to give us a pretty good chunk of mana, so let's go for 3 and Dynamo. Unfortunately, we'll miss out on that last colored source for Torbran, but we don't have a lot of good stuff going on our side anyway, so we can survive that. So let's go and push in with Hell Rider. That's going to be another 3 damage coming in. If they want to trade with Reclamation Sage, they certainly can. We'll definitely make that trade, but at least we're going to be able to pop them for 1. But you can see if we had Torbran on the battlefield, that 1 damage that gets sent up top, that's going to be a Lightning Bolt, so it's kind of cool to imagine that Hell Rider. Outside of the pingers in the deck, we do have some Planeswalkers in here. We've got Chandra, and we've got Sarkhan the Masterless, so we're actually kind of running like this Chandra kind of tribal style build in here, using Sarkhan as the kind of the finisher for the deck, because if you're not familiar with Sarkhan the Masterless, I think it's the plus ability that turns all of your Planeswalkers into 4/4 dragons, and that's just one of the best feelings in the world, you know, being able to turn all your Planeswalkers into that. It's a pretty good feeling. So opponent's going to finally rip that Toxic Deluge to get rid of Hell Rider. So, and that leaves them only 2 cards in the hand. So I feel pretty good about going for Torbran. Not the best thing out there we can do, but if we're walking into a counterspell magic, we can certainly bounce back from that. So let's go for Torbran. We do have the land drop to make for the turn. Let's go for Worn Power Stone. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. And actually, we didn't have to tap down that all the way. Let's go for Mountain. And then anything else, we're going to pass the turn over to our opponent. So they have 2 cards left in the hand. We'll see what sort of shenanigans they kind of get out for next turn. More than likely, we'll see Leovold. If that is the case, then we probably will end up going for Lava Coil, just to at least kind of hopefully keep Leovold off the battlefield. And once this does happen, if we can run into any more card advantage, we do have Electro Dominance in here, which is a pretty nice feeling. We do need to at least have a Planeswalker in their hand, but there's a couple of different ways that we can kind of cash in a little bit of card draw to help us kind of push this game plan. But now, at this point, we do need to find some sort of answer for Leovold, because Leovold unchecked and on the battlefield, yeah, that's, well, drawn to Chandra, which is pretty nice. They get a fresh grip, so that's actually not too bad. We could go X's 3, and that would get rid of Leovold. And actually, now that I kind of think about it, let's do this. So let's go Worn Power Stone, Lightning Greaves. And let's see if they've got an answer for this. We can go Lightning Greaves on the Torbran. That's going to keep it protected. And if they've got some sort of 1 mana counter, oh, I'm worried what that one spell is. Let's go Lightning Greaves onto Torbran. All right, that's going to be good. Let's go for Chandra. That'd pretty much be... I'm trying to figure out what exactly they would be able to have. So let's go 1, 2... We're going to have Chandra enter the battlefield. I don't know what that last one is. We got at least 4 mana to pay for that. If it's Swan Song, I don't think Swan Song hits Planeswalkers. All right, so they're going to go for Brainstorm. All right. Now, one thing that we do have to watch out for with them getting a fresh grip and going for Brainstorm is they might be able to dig for Force of Will or some other sort of free counter spell on mono blue, but it looks like it's not going to happen. So let's go for this +1 ability, and we should be able to get in for some really nice damage. So let's go and push in. That's going to be Tor. And then swinging with the 2 elementals. Chandra is probably one of the best cards we could get at this point in the game right now. We do have to watch out for a board wipe from our opponent's side. But you can see we knocked them all the way down to 1. Anything else? No, we're going to go and pass the turn. So they're going to have to get some sort of answer to stop us next turn. We can go for those Chandras. And with the Chandra ability, it's going to deal X damage to each creature. So if for some reason we need to get rid of Leovold, the good thing with Chandra is that -X ability. We can use it for 3. And that's not going to target, the target of a spell or ability. That's not going to target Leovold. So, oh, and then we run into a Braid. So let's do it like this. So let's wait for our opponent to do. Oh no, excuse me, a Braid's target creature. I was hoping that it was 3 damage up top. All right, they're going to draw 3 cards, discard 3 cards. And what we can do is, let's say that our opponent goes for another wheel effect or something like that. If it's some sort of thing that will help us kind of get in some sort of card advantage, we might be able to go for a Braid in response to that and target Leovold. That way we can cash in some of that card draw, or at least next turn we can go for the 0 ability with Chandra. But I think at this point right now, we want to be, all right, opponent's going to scoop it up on this one, so we're going to get it. Huge shout out to our opponent. I'd like to mention that our opponent, the first time we tried to play at a mulligan all the way down to 5, and our opponent let us restart. So I really do appreciate that. And oh, they had the Swan Song, so at least we're going to be able to get down some really good tokens next turn and swing in and deal some pretty good damage. So if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.